Are you struggling with building out complex UI collection view layouts? Well, fear no more, because in this video you will learn how to build out those brand new layouts with the brand new UI collection view. So hit that subscribe button, open up Xcode, and let's dive in. So let's just jump right into it and create a brand new Xcode project. Now in this first tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create the layout for the brand new UI collection view. And in the next one, we are going to talk about data sources. Really interesting stuff coming up. So today we are just going to start from scratch and let's create a single view application. Let's click on next here. And I will name this, let's say product name, let's say new collection view. Language Swift Swift. Now the user interface, make sure you switch it to storyboard, rather than just check storyboards, because all of this is of course in UI kit land, it's not Swift UI. So let's click on next here and let's just drop it onto the desktop. I will create a Git repository on my Mac and let's hit create here. Okay, let me just remove all of this and yeah, so first things first, we are going to remove the main.storyboard, and yeah, you will learn that too in this tutorial. So just check this, right click on it and select delete and move to trash. Now there are a couple of other things that we need to do in order for this to work. First of all, if you just scroll to the main interface, you just need to delete main and make sure you hit return, and then go to info and application scene manifest, scene configuration, application session role, item 0, and there you will have a storyboard name. And as you can see, it is main. And if you just expand this a little bit, you will see that here we have a plus and a minus sign. And let's just click on that minus button and remove all of that. Okay, now we have removed the storyboard. Now we need to instantiate it with a view controller. So now that we have removed the main.storyboard, let's just go into the scene delegate and let's instantiate our view. And let me just make this a little larger. There we go. And as you can see, first of all, we have a guard let scene as UI window scene else return. And what we need to do here is just create this window scene. So instead of this underscore, which means that we are not going to use it, we are going to type in here window scene. There we go. And we are going to use that. Let me just make this a little bit larger so we can see. As you can see now, value window scene was defined but never used. So we are just going to use it right now. And what we are going to do is kind of the same as we did the old way. We need to create our window, then add a root view controller. We are going to add a navigation controller there, and we are going to make key and visible this window. So let's just start by adding a window. So a window, and we are going to use the window that is already declared up here. So a window. Let's initialize it with this window scene. So UI window, and we are going to choose window scene and use the created window scene here. Next up, we need to create our root view controller. So window root view controller equals, and I'm just going to use UI navigation controller to add our root view controller, and that will be our view controller that's already in there, created by default by the Xcode template. And finally, we are going to have this windows, we are going to set it to make key and visible. Okay, so what we want to do now is just make a quick test, and let's just jump to this definition, and under the view did load, let's have our views background color to be, let's say, system blue. So we can see that, okay, this view controller has been loaded. So let's select our iPhone. Well, 11 Pro Max will be just fine. And let's build and run and see if we indeed do have a system blue background color. Build has succeeded. That is always a good thing. And now let's just check this out if we do have all of this right and dandy. There we go. We have a navigation controller and a system blue background for this view. Really good stuff. Now, what we want to do next is just add on the necessary files because, yeah, this is a huge topic, but there's a lot of code involved. So make sure to check out the link in the description, and there you will find the resources for this tutorial. And what you will find here is a CollectionViewController.swift file, a PNG that I will cover in just a moment, a Swift file, a contact cell, and a self-configuring cell. For now, let's just drag and drop some of them, and I will just delete this view controller. We are not going to use that. We are going to use our default created collection view controller, this one. So let's just select all of the Swift files, so not the PNG nor the pod file. And let's just drag and drop them right over here. Okay, and make sure copy item is needed is checked and create groups is checked. And of course, you want to add it to the target. So let's click on finish here. And as you can see, the view controller class cannot be found. So I will just add in here collection view controller because that is the view controller that we added here. Okay, now we have a lot of code here, but I will just go through it, just the musts. Now we are going to have a self-configuring cell protocol. What basically this does is if our cell is having this self-configuring cell, then we need to use a reuse identifier. This makes sure that we have a unique reuse identifier, and we are using it in the context cell. And under the context cell, as you can see here, we have our reuse identifier. Now, here we are just laying out some sort of a contact cell, like a profile and a name and an email field. Those two are labels, and some other configuration stuff like configure with our contact. Speaking of this contact, we have a model here, and it's a long one, but we are fetching data from a server. I will just guide you through where I'm getting that data, but this is basically the model for our contact. It needs to be codable and it needs to be hashable in order for our view controller, collection view controller, to be able to use it on our data source. So make sure it is hashable. This codable is because we are decoding it from our JSON that we are receiving. Okay, it's kind of complicated, but we are going to use only the name here and the email. Okay, those two are going to be used. Otherwise, they are just data that you can use if you want to your content. Okay, and finally, we have our collection view controller here, and what this does is basically sets up the starting phase for our tutorial here. We have a collection view that is a nil for now. We have a navigation item title, and we have a UICollectionView delegate because, yeah, I want to show you how you can select any of those items. And then we have what we are going to work here is configure collection view layout and create layout. We are going to use the create layout when we are creating the collection view controller. And finally, in the next tutorial, we are going to talk about configuring the collection view's data source, and we are going to apply the snapshot. You will know what the snapshot means, but everything in its place. And we have here a fetch items function too. This basically fetches all of the items from our API URL and applies the snapshot. Okay, the API URL, let me just show you what we are going to use, is this JSON placeholder.typico.com/users. What this does is just gives us back 10 users, and let me just show you what I'm talking about. You can click on the link there and you will be taken here to JSON placeholder, and if you just scroll a little bit down, as you can see here, we have users, and yeah, that's basically the link. If you just go here and see, it's just users, and we are going to get back this JSON. Now another thing that we are going to use is according to these users or the JSON's email, and you can see that we are constructing the email. Let me just go here, Xcode, and we will be constructing it according to this contact. We are going to, just a second here, use our adorable avatars, and go ahead and click the link again in the file. We are just going to construct a new adorable avatar, and we are just going to download that image. Okay, so that's about what we are going to use as resources. So that being out of the way, let's use another thing here, and that is CocoaPods. We are going to use CocoaPods because it's easier to set up the layout and so on. And if you just take a look at the pod file, you will see, let's just open it with, let's say text edit. And if we open it up, you will see that we have here, let me just close this. We have tiny constraints and Kingfisher. Now, tiny constraints is for laying out the UI. Kingfisher is for fetching the images. Okay, so I will just copy this out and close that. And now let's just navigate to our desktop and root view controller of our, let's see, where is that? So let's navigate to our desktop, and we should see our root view controller, the new collection view. And let's open up terminal here and type in CD and the space, and then just simply drag and drop the root folder of our project there. And what you want to do is pod init, because that will create a pod file. Let's just wait for that. And there we go, we have our pod file, and then just drag and drop it, or let's just right click on it and open it with, oh, it's with Xcode. Let's just drag and drop it onto the Xcode icon, right? And I will change the platform to iOS 13 and just paste those two pods in there. Okay, tiny constraints and Kingfisher. That's great. And now let's just go back to terminal and type in pod install. That will install all of the required pods. And that will take a while. It depends on your internet connection. Now, once all of this is done, you want to close your Xcode project. And what you want to do is just open up the new Xcode Workspace. And that can be found right over here. So let's just open that up. Let me just resize this a little bit before I close the other Xcode project. There we go. And let me just close this one. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. It's kind of the same, but now we have our pods installed. Okay, now it's time to do the good stuff. Okay. Select CollectionViewController, and we are going to, first of all, configure our collection view layout. Now just scroll a little bit down here, and you will see that configure collection view layout is an empty func. Now we are going to add a collection view here. Now the collection view is already initialized right over here. Let's see. Oh, there's a missing return here. We are going to talk about that too. But for now, let's just create our collection view. So collection view, there we go, equals UI collection view. and we are going to use the one with the frame and the collection view layout. And the frame, let's set it to the view bounds. There we go. And for the layout, let's just add in here our create layout. You could use a collection view flow layout if you wanted to, but this is the new way we should do it. So let's just use create, there we go, create layout, and that will give us a UI collection view layout. Okay, great. Now let's just set up this collection view. So collection view, let's set the delegate to self. There we go. And then collection view auto resizing mask equals, and here we have an array, and we are going to choose flexible width and flexible height. There we go, flexible width and height. Now what we want to do is add a background, so collection view, yes, background color equals, and let's use the system background color. There we go, system background. And now finally we want to register a cell, and that will be a contact cell, and then we want to add our collection view to the view. So collection view register, and that will be a contact cell dot self, and for the reuse identifier we are going to grab it from the contact cell dot reuse identifier, if you recall that. Okay, and basically that's it. Finally we are going to add our view, our collection view, to our main view. So view dot add subview collection view. Okay, and now it's time to move on to the create layout. Now, what are these item, group, section, and layout? Well, that is the brand new way to construct a new layout for your collection views. And if you just go ahead and take a look at the resources that you have downloaded, you will see that there you have a collection view layout.png. So if we take a look at that a little bit closer, let me just resize this and drag it right here. You see that this is the new layout for the collection view. How you have to think about it. The upmost layer is the layout. So that is what we are going to return in that function. And the layout may have sections, and currently we will have only just one section, the main. Go ahead and take a look at the code that we already have. And in that section, we may have groups. And those groups may have items. And as you can see, this is the layout that we are going to construct. And we will have a profile image and some data with two labels, the name and the email. Okay, so that is what we are going to use, and that is what we are going to construct here. So let's just start typing in here. And first of all, we need to have our item. Okay, but for that item, let's have a size. Okay, so first of all, let's have our item size here. And that will be, now this is going to be called NS collection layout size. There are a lot of NS, like next step calls here in the collection view, but bear in mind this is working across all platforms. So NS collection layout size, there we go. And we are going to choose the one with the width dimension. There we go, let's see. Let's just comment this out for now, so it may compile and give us the appropriate sizes there. Okay, now the width dimension and the height dimension. Now for the width dimension, there are a couple of, as you can see, there are NS collection layout dimensions. Now these are new stuff. And if we hit a dot here, you will see that there are four types here: absolute, estimated, fractional height, and fractional width. Now, of course, we are going to choose fractional width here because we are going to use the groups fractional width. Now the fractional width here will be for the size will be 1.0, so the width will be equal of the items again. The items width will be equal to the group's width. Okay, now for the height, again it will be fractional width, fractional height, because we want to, in this particular case, we are going to use the item, it will have the same size as the group. So again, 1.0 here. Okay, go ahead and take a look at the absolute, but we are going to use some of them in just a moment. Now that we have our item size, let's create our item. And I know, bear in mind that this is a long to-do list, item, group, section, layout. It will all come together once we create all of them. Okay, now this will be an NS collection layout item. So NS collection layout item. And as you can see here, we have a layout size. We can add supplementary items. Go ahead and click the links that I have up here, I believe. There we go. This link will guide you through the WWDC's videos, where all of the details that I haven't covered here, like the supplementary items, are really well explained. So for now, let's just choose this layout size. Okay, and item size goes there. Okay, now we may have this set up with a layout size, but we want to have content insets too. So that is pretty easy to do. So item, we choose this one, dot content insets. And these will be NS directional edge insets. So NS directional, and let's just use top 8, leading 8, bottom 8, and trailing 8. Okay, so this will give us that nice content inset. Okay, that is it for our item. So let me just go back here and show you, this is our item. Here we have our insets, and this is the item size. Okay, let's move forward to our group. Again, the group will have a group size. So let group size equals, again, an NS collection layout size, NS collection layout size. And this time around, what have I done here? This time around, we are going to, again, with the width dimension will be 1.0, but the height dimension will be an absolute. And I will have here a magical number. I will show you what it really means when we go through all of it. But basically what we have here is a 60, I want to achieve a 60 pixel height item with a padding of 8, and then the group will have a padding of 8. So in total, this height dimension needs to be an absolute of 76. Go ahead and take a look at the code if you are struggling it with right now. So we will have a fractional width here of 1.0, and the height will be an absolute and 76. Okay, so let's create our group right now. Let group equals, and this will be an NS collection layout group, and you might want to just hit a parenthesis here and choose any of the availabilities, but we are going to use a dot and a horizontal group, and with a sub items, because the sub items will be the items that we have created. And of course you may have many items. That's the magic of the new UI collection view, but for now we are going to use just one item. Now for the layout size, let's just add in here our group size. Sub items, it's an array of our item. Okay, next up, let's create our section, because again, the group will be in that section. So let section equals NS collection, And the layout section is what we want here. And again, we have our group here, and it will be our group. Nothing much here. And finally, we are going to create our layout. Let layout equals UI. Bear in mind, here we have a UI collection view compositional layout. I know it's quite a lot, but that's that. Okay, and now we are going to add in here a section. And that section will be our created section. And finally, we are going to return this layout. Okay, let's turn our layout. And let's just remove all of that. Now we are ready with the layout. Okay, now I know this is quite a lot. Go ahead and take a look at it, go through the code again. But now we have created our layout, and it's not just a simple flow layout, and we have created our collection view. Now in the next video, we are going to talk about data sources, so make sure to check out that too. Now you know how you can build out complex UI collection view layouts. I want you to hit that notification bell because in my next video, I will be talking about UI collection view data sources. That's right, we are going to populate our collection view. So make sure to check out that video. In the meantime, while that comes out, make sure to take a look at these two videos as well. I talk a lot about Swift UI and Swift in general. And as usual, I will see you in the next one.